So Arwen, if I keep this like that, and we stay exactly this far apart, I think we'll be okay. No, well, I don't think this is gonna work. Oh, who's that? Who is that? Who's that? It's Parry Shen! What are you doing?
Well, isn't that a long intro thing?
What? Oh, no, dude, it's you. Everybody knows you.
No, not everybody.
Most people.
But that's why you showed up, just for that really cool intro that you do.
I mean, I didn't prepare anything. Sorry.
Go on the internet and get my IMDb, just read it off.
Okay, I mean.
All right. Parry Shen is the greatest actor that I have ever met.
Okay, I got it.
Parry Shen is the greatest actor I've ever worked with. I know, I make some pretty grandiose statements about every artist who does this show, but I can legitimately say with 100% sincerity that Parry is the secret weapon of the Hatchet series. He hasn't just been the glue holding each film together, he's been holding me together on each production over the last 15 years now. At least, at the time that this episode is being released on Christmas Day in 2020, it will have been 15 years. We still have a lot of work to do together in the future. My core audience knows Parry not only from the 4 Hatchet movies so far, but also from things like Holliston, Horrified, Ariscope's 10th annual Halloween short film, The TiVo, his multiple appearances on the Movie Crypt podcast, and one of my favorite projects ever, Fairy Tale Police.
We didn't come out here to join in any reindeer games, right?
Did what's his name get at you?
Who?
These nuts!
Thankfully, I'm not the only director in Hollywood that recognizes what an incredible talent Parry is. You've seen him in tons of movies and TV shows. You've heard his voice in some of your favorite video games. And your mom has been crushing on him for the last 7 years that he's been playing Bad Brad Cooper on General Hospital. Parry's talents are certainly not limited to acting though. He's also produced 2 movies and co-created 2 groundbreaking comic anthologies. He's spoken at well over 100 universities where he's shared his experiences working as an Asian American artist in the entertainment industry. He's been profiled on shows like Entertainment Tonight and Extra, not to mention featured in magazines like People, Rolling Stone, and the Wall Street Journal. Behind the scenes, Parry is a devoted husband and an amazing father to 2 daughters. Parry Shen is one of the most rock-solid human beings I've ever met. Reliable, committed, fun, kind, generous, prepared, and most of all, phenomenal at his craft. Through thick and thin, Parry has been a leader and a calming presence on every set. When he's around, everything is better, and he has elevated the standard of every project simply by being a part of it. I mean, he made such an incredible impression on me the very first time we worked together that I've now worked with him 8 times, always writing roles specifically for him to play. Put it this way, I've absolutely loved every cast of every Hatchet movie, and it's always a sad day when we picture wrap someone. Because when Victor Crowley kills you, you're pretty f***ing dead. Unless, of course, you're Parry Shen. In an industry of make-believe, it isn't always easy to find people that you can believe in. But as you've seen over the course of this series, I've managed to meet and become friends with some absolutely incredible people on my journey through Hollywood so far. And I saved one of the very best for last. I'm Adam Green, and tonight, the one and only Parry Shen joins me for the final Scary Sleepover.
Y'all try the crawfish yet?
So how you been?
Good, man, you?
Good. I can't believe how long it's been since I've seen you.
Yeah, I know, right?
A long time.
Yeah, it's been wow.
Do we have to wear the masks? Are you good? Are you like...
No, well, actually, I just got tested for General Hospital.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I figured.
Yeah.
Whew. So what's new?
Well, I have COVID.
I'm assuming you were kidding, but still, I have this, and I figure...
I was kidding.
As long as we just...
I was kidding, Adam.
See, I know, but like, we'll just, just to be safe.
Okay.
It'll be good. Yeah. So, okay, so for tonight, I thought a cool activity would be if we started a fire, like over
Actually, I brought something. Because I have seen the episodes over the years and know that you have been dying
there. No way.
to play this.
Indiana Jones Life.
Why are you single?
It's Indiana Jones Life.
We're not-
You could be the
no.
Indiana Jones Life.
Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, I have been wanting to play that game for so long and
I know.
nobody would play it with me. Are you serious?
I know.
So we can play it?
Let's do it.
For real.
So let's do it.
Holy shit, dude, that would be awesome. All right, ready?
Yep.
I cannot believe we're finally gonna play this game. I wish I knew how to play it.
Okay, I guess I'll read the directions. Hold on a second.
Are those the directions?
Yeah, I'm gonna just put my glasses on.
I mean, I imagine it's
Can't see.
gotta be a lot like. Really?
47!
You're 47?
47!
Holy shit, I didn't know you were 15 years older than me.
If you land on the same space or space.
Wait, let me see that. I don't think those are the directions. I think, yeah, this is for, this is, Jesus. It is small. Hold on a second. It's really small. Oh, okay. Oh, no, this is how you collect. Let's just play it like regular life,
Okay.
you know?
Eight.
Before you got here, I was telling, or I guess reminding Will about with Hatchet 2 when I was so excited that I named a character after your daughter because
Right,
she
yes.
was born during Hatchet 1.
Yes.
And I thought it was like the nicest thing ever. And so did basically everybody else until you read the
I
script
read the script, yeah. And
and pointed out what happens in that scene.
now she gets a hatchet for JJ.
We were still trying to be nice about it. And you're like, no, this is really cool. Does she have to be getting taken from behind?
And asking about, do you like it better than ice cream, baby Jesus?
You like this better than Jesus?
That's not appropriate.
You were showing that during one of the marathons, and I remember showing my daughter Avery. I'm saying, "This is who you're named after." It was just a dialogue scene, and then like time passes, and we're talking about how she was born during when it was the first one came out, and then came up to the part where they're about to have sex, and then I ran over to the computer. I'm like, no! I literally said that. I was like making my body like Plastic Man, trying to like be as wide as possible.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't have kids. I don't think about that stuff. Like, Will, how many of the movies that we've made have your children seen of ours?
I think none.
Yeah.
And every time I'll start out being like, oh, this could be one that everybody could watch. And then it's just not. The other reason Hatchet 2 came up was just the pandemic thing and stuff. And do you remember how the swine flu took out like that whole set and
Yeah,
everybody was sick?
Yeah.
And like throwing up in a bucket. And I remember that was like the first time I remember being in an environment where everybody had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And just coming to set every day, and there was less and less crew as everybody was getting sick. Did you get sick? Or?
I was fortunate just to like miss that, but I knew I had heard everyone's like dropping like flies, and I just wasn't happened to been working on those days where it was like the hot spots of like where everyone was like together in that petri dish.
And what's funny though is we were on a soundstage, but that was more like a real swamp.
Yeah.
Than
just
a real
'cause of
swamp.
all the bacteria. Yeah. Floating around. Yeah.
I don't know if the production designer meant for it to. I don't think he knew he was going to grow his own ecosystem on that stage.
Imagine you found a journal, like it was an experiment he was running on along. It's like day 14.
I mean, the first one was obviously the first time that we met, and I was a huge fan of Better Luck Tomorrow. So I remember being so excited when you were coming in. It's just crazy that's over 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
And And everyone, it was one of those auditions too, where like everyone wanted to like you so much that you would have had to try to screw that up.
That's nuts because I didn't know that at all. That had been like the last audition. I had actually 4 auditions that day. It was packed from 9 a.m. and they were all spread out. So Hatchet was the very last, and I didn't know what Hatchet was. I didn't know who the people were.
Nobody would.
It was like it was like maybe like 3 hours between the 3rd and the 4th one. And so I had a lot of time to prepare. So I was running my lines, and then I showed up to the casting place like over an hour ahead of time. And I was like, it's weird to show up too early, so I'll just wait. And I'm like waiting in the car, I'm like eating, I packed a lunch because I knew I'd be in the car the whole day. And then I finally said, okay, it's about 5 minutes to go. All right, I'll show up now. Show up, knock on the door, wrong place. I was like, fuck, I had an hour, over an hour.
And now you're late.
Now I'm late because I gave myself only 5 minutes.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. Shannon, who was casting, she sometimes casts out of where she lives.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it was. I think it was just like a cut and paste error where it's like they were doing back and forth and then mistake, and it was at her. I'm like knocking and I see her family like getting ready for dinner and they're like, "What you doing here?" I'm late and I'm pissed off because I've already had a long day and I was like, fuck this. And I just went in there and it was actually the best thing because usually at auditions, I don't audition well just because I'm always in my head. I'm thinking, I should do this, I should do this.
It's so nerve-wracking
Yeah.
for the people on the other side as well,
Yeah.
which I know you've also done.
Yeah.
The best thing about that character was that, I mean, there's so many funny things about that character, about Sean, but the fact that he switches his accent, and then you had suggested, well, I'll do the Asian American thing, but it's so played out and I don't really want to do that. And so what if I switch a 3rd time? The fact that this guy in the middle of a crisis of people being killed is still trying to hide who he really is.
Okay, look, I'm gonna be completely and totally honest with you guys.
I'm trying to remember when the first time was that I told you where I pointed out the significance of the line about the brother. Were we on set when I mentioned if there's a sequel, the brother would be in it, or was it after?
My memory's getting worse as I get older, but I remember mentioning to you that just because I had so much fun, I wanted to continue doing it. I didn't know whether it was immediately after or an event when we're on the Hatchet tour that I said, you know, and then when it says, you know, Sean dies, and then I mentioned like, well, he says that his brother set him up with this thing, so I'm just saying. And I remember putting that out there and then being proud that I did that because it actually came to fruition. So I want to say that that's where it first started.
I think because his brother was always gonna be in it.
Okay.
But then the idea that like it should just be you playing the brother, we'll just do some facial hair.
Right.
And then it was like it was during the making of 2 where it's like, well, he's gotta come back again. And it's like, well, now how? And I'm like, does it matter?
Yeah.
Like just have him come back again. Everyone will be so happy to see him. And that first screening, which was at the Boston Strong charity event I did, when the way you like walk into the shot and put down the stuff you're carrying, that reveal, and everybody just started laughing. And yeah, it's just crazy that it worked out the way it did, and that now Andrew's the real kind of final girl of that series.
Right,
or at least, or maybe not Andrew, but you.
Go to hell, you ugly bastard!
You've made every production better. And the fact that you're so prepared and that you always know your lines and you can joke around with everybody else like the best of them, but then you always magically somehow know when to stop before needing to be asked to stop.
I remember you guys pulled me aside and it was like raining or something on the first one, and you're like, I just want to let you know that everybody sees how you're composed, and we just really appreciate it. Because like in it cut to like Joe Moore, then Tamara, they're all like dancing, and while we're trying to set up the shot.
But then you would go home and have to be a dad to a newborn.
Yeah.
And then come back to set. Well, the rest of us were literally drinking all day. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But but everybody else was.
I mean, I did want to participate, obviously, just to hang out with everybody and hear stories. But at the same time, because like I was going through such like, it was such a, even though it was exhausting, it was so freaking cool because I'm getting to shoot this fucking hilarious movie, you know, and doing like what I thought was kind of groundbreaking stuff in that genre, and then having, you know, life, you know, and then be like, oh my God, this is amazing that I get to do both, you know?
It's just crazy because whenever I do see Avery, she's like the landmark for how much time has passed.
Yeah.
And she grew up so fast.
Yeah.
The weekend of Laura's wedding when we all went to the beach.
Yeah.
And she was, I mean, not that I'm the tallest person in the world, but she was already like my height. And
Yeah.
it's like, I remember when you were like
I know.
born.
I know, it's
Crazy.
yeah, she just surpassed me a couple months ago. She's taller than me now.
Sadly, that's most people in my life.
So I don't know where you want me to put this thing.
What are you doing?
I don't know where you want me to put the pack because I don't have any
No,
pockets.
you're naked. Why are you naked?
Oh, this is the way I sleep. I could never sleep with any clothes on.
Okay, tonight you're gonna wear, you should wear pajamas, I think.
You
'cause
told me to bring where to go to sleep. This
we're
is how I
about
go to
the
sleep.
same size. I would say wear
It's
that.
gonna be all.
Oh shit, sorry. Oh, come on.
Whatever, man. Better?
Much better. Wait. Okay. So this is literally her favorite thing when people are over and lying on the floor. Mm-hmm. Because that way she can get to them and do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, you must taste as good as Sid Haig. She's really getting in there.
What the f are you doing?
She's
Come on.
just going to town.
Good. I'm gonna rent my face out for dogs. That's how I'm gonna supplement my income.
You have a dog, right?
I do. We adopted one 3 years ago.
What kind of dog is it?
We know mom is poodle and dad we don't know because it was a rescue. So she just had a bunch of puppies and yeah, we think either Yorkie or part terrier. So
Oh, wow.
because the hair is very similar. So that's what we've always said.
Here, come over here. Good girl.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Good girl.
Oh, your turn now.
Yeah.
You get some of that.
She gets bored with me. She gets to do this all the time. So I think that's been one of the hardest things, at least for her, about the whole pandemic is she's so used to people coming over here all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, even just for the podcast, that's at least
Right.
once a week there's somebody completely new for her to meet. And now it's like months without people coming by until now. Now she's got important things to do. So she just
finish
suddenly
the
was
game.
like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be over there. In the midst of all of this, and every day you're talking about potential death or how many people died or whatever, you end up thinking about your own mortality. And a lot of people that I've talked to have at least 5 times over the last few months questioned every decision they ever made, like every big decision. Like, should I have gone to school for that? Did I pick the right career?
Right. As things happen, like when you have kids and you're like worried about the birth and things like that, and
Yeah.
will this go well? It's like, and every time I kind of got tired of getting scared because it's like, I always tell this to people was like, the biggest thing that you usually are freaked out or scared about usually never happens.
True.
Right? And it's
Yeah.
like you're worrying yourself for no reason. And if you think about the thing that actually does happen, is like, is it really that bad? You know, unless it's like, you know, I mean, there's exceptions to every situation, but for the most part, all the things that I've always been scared about, like, not working again, running out of money. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like you look back on it, SAT scores, getting to the right college, you know, and it's like,
Asking somebody out
yeah,
and them
it's
saying no.
You're like, oh my God, I wasted so much time being scared of that thing. And then so every time I starting getting scared of something, I know enough to take a step back and be like, really? You know, what are you still scared about, you know?
When were you able to do that though? Because if like somebody could teach that skill to teenagers, I feel like they'd have so many less problems later in life.
Right.
But anxiety is like the number one
Absolutely,
thing. And a lot
yeah.
of people don't even realize they're
Yeah.
having it.
Yeah, Avery, my oldest, she's in high school and she's really concerned everybody knows what they want to do. I'm like, do they really? You know, do they really? And what college they want to go to, this path, and they're starting to work for it. She's like getting anxiety to the point where she's getting, you know, it's debilitating her, you know, to enjoy and just finding to do something and be like, you know what, I'll try this out. If it doesn't work, it's okay. I don't have to be the professional at this thing. I mean,
But the problem is, and I don't know if it's the education system or what, but at a young age, they basically teach you like, if you don't get into the advanced math class,
right.
you're always gonna be behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Like the people who get in there,
Yeah.
they're gonna be the doctors and the lawyers. You've just, it'll never happen for you now. And they speak in such ultimates. And if you if you don't go to college and you don't know what you're gonna major in, or if you don't, you're done. Like you're now, I don't know, there's just so much pressure to have it all figured out so young.
You want them to care about something and work towards something, but it's that right in that fine line, because, you know, if you do say, it doesn't matter, then they're not gonna give a shit, right?
Yeah.
And then that work ethic just starts, you know, but it's a fine line, you know. Sometimes you gotta pull back and be like, look, I don't want you to stop working hard, but give yourself a break here. You're a good kid, you're trying towards something, you know, but don't put so much pressure on yourself.
What are you most afraid of personally? Like, is there one thing that you're just terrified of?
Usually I'm able to push out and rationalize, you know, things usually never come to fruition, so why worry about them? But there is, when I was thinking about it, one thing that I actually have pushed in the far recesses of my mind was my kids, if they were to, and I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, you know, it doesn't happen ever, but I just pictured them, I think I saw them one time that they're like kind of laughing, or they're really, you know, learning something new, and you see it click in their head and it's like, that's awesome. And then for them to not be able to do that, for them to be like, it being an injury where their personality just like, where they're like brain dead, you know, and they just are a vegetable, and to see that same face, but the life, they're there, but they're not there. I think that would be like all that potential and experiences that they would have had. And for me, all the benchmarks in my life, like the first job, being worried about it, and then actually getting it, and then excelling at it and doing a good job, having that feeling, and then meeting the love of their life, and all these little things that they would never have, that's, I think, would be my greatest fear. And then I've kind of pushed that out because it's not gonna happen, but I mean, you know.
There's a reason why there were so many parents when I was growing up that wouldn't allow their kids to do certain things just because of the fear of it being taken away.
Right.
Don't date because you're gonna get your heart broken and it's gonna ruin you. Don't get a pet because it's gonna die. Don't, and you can't live like that, you know? You gotta.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, all these things that you said before, it shapes you for better or worse, right?
I don't know, some people would say it's an important part of life is to have a pet because there's an expiration date. And it's so unfair that we outlive our pets, but they only live so long. And to watch a kid go through that loss for the first time, you can argue this is life. They need to go through this. But you're also never the same again after it.
Right.
A lot of parents who didn't want their kids dating because they don't want them going through it. They're like, you know, your first heartbreak, you never get over. You think you're gonna die. Like, it's the worst pain there is, and no one understands. And you know, all of it. The lesson is, with time, things can get better.
Right.
But it does forever change you, and you're not the same again. Not the same as, like, you know, an accident where you physically couldn't enjoy things anymore, or but still, yeah. And I don't have kids, but I gotta imagine, like, that's gotta be terrifying.
Yeah, just anyone that you care about and you've seen them at their best, and then all of a sudden they can't do that anymore, you know. And
There's so many stories, though, of people who you know, lose an arm, or, you know, they're like a great whatever, surfer or runner, and then even though they lost a limb, and anybody else would give up at that point and just be like, well, I can't do that anymore. But then they do keep going, and they do, like, it's the most inspiring thing in the world.
I did this graphic novel called Secret Identities, and one of the artists, who's a really great artist, all of a sudden he very quickly was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. He lost the functions of his hands, so he's an artist. He can't draw now. He continued drawing with his mouth,
Oh, come on.
then his foot, and then when he lost everything, he got the software where it tracked his eyeball, and he was drawing with his eyeball, it's following the movements, and it's like really good. And it's like, he drawing with his eyeball is better than me with my hands, you know. And so it's I mean, that to me was like a testament of the human spirit, you know, just right there. Someone that I knew, and he passed away, and he was a huge Star Wars fan, and the new one started coming on. He saw the trailer. He was so excited. He's like, "Oh my God! It feels like the old ones again." You know, it's all practical effects, and at least he got to see the trailer, but he didn't get to see the movie.
Oh, I think we all, when you hear stories like that, you'd like to think or hope that you would be that person who would find a way. Like, nothing's gonna take this away from me. Like, you know.
Right.
But I don't know, because I feel like I've given up on less, if that's the right way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, just getting your heart broken really bad. It's been like 7 years hiding in an office for the most part. I mean, I got out there again a little bit at the beginning, I think, because it's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then to see somebody who is like such a talented artist like that, and to have every possible way of doing your art removed and still keep finding a way to do it.
Right.
I don't know, I guess you hope that you would be that way, but especially, I think in your case, kids, I think it would be worse to watch it happen to somebody else, to have them not able to love the thing that they love, or do the thing that they love, or have the thing that they love anymore. I just personally, I would rather it happen to me than to have to watch somebody else go through it. It was like when I was married, I always kind of hoped, if some tragedy was ever gonna happen, that it would happen to me and not her. The best thing I can do is always go back to pets. Like, I've had to do counseling already over the fact that she's gonna die someday, because
Right.
and then I'll think sometimes, if I could go back knowing what I'm in for, because my cat just died a few weeks ago, but I go back and stop myself and be like, don't adopt this dog, because you're gonna have these amazing years, but when it's time, because pets are, have you ever had to put a pet to sleep where like you were the one who did it? It's awful. It's in some ways it's amazing that they can do that for a pet. You know what I mean? Like, if they could only do that for people. Like, when my grandmother died, it was just so long of her in just like a fetal position, and you'd have to like check to see if she was even still breathing. And the nurses would say, she's not in any pain. She's in this like euphoric state. And it's like, well, how do you know that? You don't know that.
Yeah.
What if it's like the Metallica video for one, with that footage from Johnny Got His Gun, and she's fully, her brain's fully functioning, and she's trapped. But yeah, so with a pet, at least when they get to that point, you can make a decision to not have them suffer at all, or, you know, but God, is it awful. When did you get your dog? 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah. This is my first dog too. I never had a dog. I've always wanted one, and you know, just goldfish, which lasted for 7 years.
Really?
Yeah. His name was David, and he got and
That's my goldfish, David.
hey,
That's a people name.
it's my goldfish's name. He lasted 7 years, and then we went on vacation one time, and then all of a sudden I see that the fish tank is empty, and I'm like, Mom, what happened to David? She goes, oh, I flushed him down the toilet.
Because he died, I hope.
No, because she got tired. She's like, oh my God, this thing is still alive, and she just was tired of cleaning the fish tank, because we didn't clean the tank as well, and she was scrubbing it all the time, and so she got tired, and just when we were on vacation a couple weeks, she just flushed him down the toilet. So he's probably huge now.
He's gonna come back someday.
That's the next horror movie.
I feel like they come into your life for a reason, though, when they do.
Yeah.
You know, what some people literally stumble upon a pet,
Yeah.
or find them, or whatever it might be. And like, she was a friend's sibling had a dog who had a litter, and they were in a bad predicament, and the litter just needed homes. And I remember thinking, this is just gonna be temporary, because I don't have time to take care of a dog. So I just remember thinking, I'll find a different home. And given that, like, just a few short years later, literally like 2 years later, all the stuff I ended up going through, and how bad it got, and but that's why she found me when she did, I think.
Right.
But she was my rock through all that, because there's no such thing as no human, I don't think, can match the loyalty of a dog. Like, a dog just lives to love you. That's all they want to do, and it's you coming home is the greatest thing that has ever happened until the next time you come home.
Do you ever stop working when she's wanting to play, or do you like say, I gotta work now? Or
No, I'll
you
basically
always drop
do
everything?
Yeah, whatever she
wow.
wants.
Good for you.
I can't. She doesn't know what the word no means. You can. I've seen other people try to do it. Like, if she is doing something wrong, and they'll be like, Arwen, no. She's like, I don't.
What are you speaking?
I know you're saying something, but. Well, I'm glad we got to do this finally.
Yeah.
Like the final episode. It was one of those things where it's like, yeah, we'll do that at some point. We'll do that at some point. And then when we realized, like, we're only doing one more, and it was like,
Running out of time.
yeah, we are running out of time. Not really, though. We could still make like 50 more movies.
That's true.
At least. Yeah. But you never, at least I don't, hang out. I don't do stuff like this. Like, if it wasn't for doing the show.
Right.
Which is weird, that if you were to ask a friend to do something, it would kind of be either inconvenient or weird to be asking them. But if there's gonna be cameras there and everyone's gonna see it, then like,
Of course, a big intro.
yeah.
Remember?
But especially during this whole pandemic bullshit. Good night.